Okay, so I was wondering if you could just give us an overview of the selection process for South by Fantastic. When do you start looking? How many films do you screen? And does it differ at all from the Fantastic Fest selection process?
Well, I think we're looking all year long for both Fantastic Fest and South by Fantastic, so we don't really turn it off and turn it on. And it's interesting because this lineup with South by Fantastic, there's two films that I actually thought were going to be in Fantastic Fest. And one of them, if you can talk to any of the other programmers, was pretty much one of my favorite movies. And then things got squirreled right before the festival, and I had to pull it out of the lineup. So there were two that just didn't quite get ready in time for Fantastic Fest. And I think that's where the list starts, because we track things by when they're going to be done. And a lot of things we were tracking last year, September just wasn't an option, and they needed a few more months to finish up, and that's why we're looking at them for South by Fantastic. And I think it's great for us because the timing is completely off season with Fantastic Fest, so it allows me to continue looking all year long. And I think the difference for this is there's only 5 films, whereas for Fantastic Fest we're booking about 70 features. So I have to be, I think, pretty careful to be representative of the things we like to do at Fantastic Fest, and so I can't load it up with too many movies of the same type. I like to show the diverse palette of films that we're into.
So let's talk about some of these diverse movies. George the Hedgehog, and is described as a skateboarding, beer-loving hedgehog who is tormented by neo-Nazi skinheads, mad scientists, and a drooling, flatulent clone of himself.
Yes.
How did you come across this film, and is there anything else you can say about it? Is it an animated film?
Oh yeah, I probably should have put that in the description. Yeah, it's animated. So it's Polish, and it's the first animated version of a very, very popular graphic novel in Poland that is popular nowhere else in the world. So nobody's heard of George the Hedgehog, but if you talk to somebody in Poland, they're like, oh yeah, Jersey, yeah, everybody knows him. So I first saw it, I think on Twitch. I saw the trailer pop up on Twitch sometime maybe 5 or 6 months ago, and that's part of our process too. Is whenever we hear anything about anything interesting in the film world, we put it onto our tracking list. Where we saw it, how to go after it more. And so for that one, we tracked it down through the official website and made contact with the producers, and they had no earthly idea of anything going on in Austin. They didn't know about South by Southwest, so we had to go through a long education process and send them a bunch of links and had to basically sell ourselves that we were worthy, because this is going to be the first time it's shown outside of Poland. And that was the last film we booked, because I turned in my titles, I think 72 hours late past deadline for South by Southwest, and my last email exchange with them was like, seriously, it has to be here at 8 a.m. And I was on the phone on Skype with the Polish producers at 7:45. I had 15 minutes left. We had a backup film that would have been good too, but I really wanted this because I think it's very unique, and we like to bring films from places like Poland, for example, that it's going to be unexpected for people to have this kind of skateboarding youth culture in with all this sort of Polishness, and it's a pretty cool film, and there's a lot of beer drinking in it. So
awesome, looking forward to that one. So Simon Rumley is returning to South by Fantastic. He directs one of the segments in Little Deaths, which is an anthology horror. I'm wondering if we can expect a similar emotional beating that we took in Red, White, and Blue.
Well, I can tell you that his segment is nasty and it's mean-spirited. So all three of the films, I think what they have in common is some level of sexual deviancy, and all three of the filmmakers are actually Fantastic Fest or South by Fantastic. They're all Fantastic Fest veterans. Simon Rumley, Sean Hogan had a movie in Fantastic Fest in 2007, and then Andrew Parkinson also had a movie the same year. So they're familiar with the festival, and we've been tracking this project ever since it was an idea stage. And this is another one that we had hoped to get into Fantastic Fest, but just wasn't quite there. But they get progressively stranger. Sean is first, and then Simon takes it in a nasty, mean-spirited, vindictive way, and then Andrew is just apeshit. It's just unfathomably weird, and those are the waters in which I like to tread.
Awesome. So there's another Fantastic Fest alum coming back, Ben Wheatley, whose first film was Down Terrace and won the Best Feature in the Next Wave category in 2009.
Yes.
He's bringing Kill List. Can you tell us anything about Kill List? Because there's a lot of buzz around this film.
I can tell you nothing about Kill List.
Nothing at all.
So we're keeping it pretty much under wraps.
Okay.
Well, you know that it's Ben Wheatley, and so I think it's safe to say that the writing is going to be very solid. The story is great. It's going to be a mix of fun and holy shit, and we're not talking about what happens. So basically, we're not sending out screeners. We want everybody to experience it together on the first screening. I'm super excited about it. I think he nailed it, and I can't wait to watch it with an audience.
Okay. Looking forward to that one. Did you feel any pressure to top a Serbian film in any way? Did you feel like you had set a standard to live up to with South by Fantastic?
I don't know if I can, really. I mean, that's one of those movies that it's special in its own way. I mean, there's always going to be movies that are really insanely violent and kind of go out there and push the envelope, but Serbian Film, I think, was special in that it was so well crafted and it had this great political context. So I generally don't even really like super extreme violence unless it's part of a total package. Yeah. So I would have loved to have come across something in that vein again, but it doesn't happen very often. It hasn't happened very often in Fantastic Fest history. So I don't know. I don't really ever come to it with any expectations. I just I'm scanning the movies for what I think is representative of who we are and of great work in genre film, and it could be this direction one year and it could be this direction another year. Right. So I'm just going to try to pick my favorite ones.
Right. So continuing on that line of thinking just a little bit in the total package, assuming artistic value and good craftsmanship, is there ever been a film that you've rejected based solely on content?
No.
No?
I would have done it with Serbian Film, probably.
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, for me, nothing is necessarily taboo, and I do have something of a sick perversion of liking to watch an audience squirm. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm not for squirming's sake, if you will. I mean, so I don't know. I haven't found that line yet.
Mm-hmm. So should attendees this year expect any other surprises to bring the Fantastic Fest experience to South by outside of just the films?
Well, we're certainly going to try to throw a couple of parties related to some of these films. The FP, for example, very much lends itself to a party. It's hard to describe, but Dance Dance Revolution has a large part of the mythology of this alternate reality world of the FP, and so I can't think of anything better to do after the movie than to have some sort of Rager Dance Dance Revolution party. We'll definitely throw some pyrotechnics into the intro. I've been wanting to buy one of those sort of cannon devices that launches things at the audience. So I think I might do that this year. I've always wanted one, and I feel like I deserve a treat.
Okay, we'll just wrap this up. If you have one bit of advice to give your normal South by Southwest attendee who maybe doesn't generally do midnighters, if they were going to wander into a random South by Fantastic film, how would you prepare them? What bit of advice would you give them?
Wow. It's funny because I've been to Sundance the last couple of years, and their midnight programming has gotten a little bit more vicious over the last couple of years, and there's a knee-jerk reaction from a large chunk of that audience to say, get this filth out of our festival. This has nothing to do with who we are. So, I mean, I'm not saying I'm bringing filth this year, but I don't know. I think it's similar to how I approach Fantastic Fest in general, because I think people sometimes look at midnight movies with this preconceived notion that, you know, inherently, okay, so yeah, these movies are shit, but they're fun, and that drives me bananas. I hate that attitude. So I'm going to just say, you know, leave any sort of preconceived notions about, you know, the quality level of a genre film at the door. Yes, we're going to be going for fun, but we're going to try to present you some really interesting filmmaking as well. And I don't know, be ready to chug some beers.
Awesome.